y'all. This is Kim. I really wanted to come on here quickly to get out a word that I have had for some time now. And it's been a little difficult to get this word out because, the enemy really have been trying to speak to my mind, trying to make me doubt and make me confused about what I was hearing. But God is so good. He just continued to confirm that, yes, this is what he's saying. And he wants me to get on here and tell you guys. So I really want to keep this brief because there's so much to this that I have to break it down into different videos. I feel God urging me to take my gift in a certain direction. And this direction is one that is not popular. It's one that doesn't necessarily stroke the ego. And, yeah. So let me just go ahead and tell you guys. I first want to start out by saying what you may know or what you may not know, but we who live in America, we who live in the West, and we who live in this world system, live in what I believe God considers to be spiritual Egypt. We know Egypt was a place where they served many different gods. They did not serve the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They were very wicked, and they also had God's people enslaved. That's a whole nother that's a whole nother ball game right there. But I do want to I want to preface this by saying we do live in spiritual Egypt. I live in America, so specifically America is very, very wicked, and we all know that. We all know that. We're all very aware of that, hopefully. And so he has just been showing me and telling me that we're about to see some things come up on this earth that we need to keep in mind who's in control and who is sending it. Now, I know there are some things that happen in this earth, such as natural disasters that are demonic. And with that, he's still speaking to me about that. But we know that he's in control, right? So what he spoke to me is he is sending his judgments on this earth. And he confirmed that with me through Psalm 105. And in my Bible, the headline, the title for the psalm is The Plagues of Egypt. I was like, whoa, whoa. And he had been speaking to me sometime with this one verse that I just couldn't get. I'm like, what does this verse mean? So I start off with this verse, Hebrews 1 and 7. And Hebrews 1 and 7 says, God makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire. And I read that in a couple of places, and I'm like, God, you're speaking to me about this, but I don't understand what that means. You make your angels winds and your ministers flames of fire. So he actually spoke to me, when was this? December 12th of last year, so 12/12. And in this dream, it was Christmas time, and I was sitting somewhere, I guess in the living room, and I saw that there was a stocking for me. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that was there. Like, I didn't know I had a stocking. So I went and looked in the stocking. This is in the dream. And I pulled out a check. And the check was addressed to me in the amount of $221. And it was signed by all of my family on my mother's side. So this dream had puzzled me for so long. And so as I've been saying, God has been speaking to me in this season through his Bible concordance, or a Bible concordance, the Greek and the Hebrew, this is where they take words and they translate them in the Greek and in the Hebrew, and then there'll be a number associated to it. So I went and I looked up 221, and in the Greek, it stands for an Alexandrian, which means, I believe Alexandria was a very big city in Egypt, very populated city in Egypt. And in the Hebrew, it means a flame of fire, or the flame of God, or some translations say the light of God. And so I was like, what? Okay, a check written in the amount of $221, signed by my family. What are you saying? So since December until now, God is so awesome because he's broken down so many different facets of this that applies to different areas of life, my personal life, the world. I mean, it's just been amazing. And he's still revealing to me what he means. But as I keep that dream in my mind, when I think about he makes his angels winds and his ministers a flame of fire, I believe it's in Revelation 7 where the angels are holding back the four winds so that they can seal the 144,000 before God brings the plagues on the earth. So the seal is to protect them as he's raining his judgments down on the earth. And I thought that was interesting that the angels were holding back the winds. So to me, it seems that winds are synonymous with judgments. It could be literal judgments, like a literal wind, literal natural occurrences, or maybe something spiritual. But also the fact that Hebrews 1:7 says that he makes his ministers a flame of fire. And that check 221 in the Hebrew is the flame of God, or the fire of God. So I went to one of my devotionals that I do daily, and this just stuck out to me. A little phrase in it. It's a little daily devotional. It says, "Be careful not to complain about anything, even the weather, since I am the author. I am working my ways into the situation so good emerges from it." So when I read that, even the weather stuck out to me. And also, as I was studying this, as I said earlier, he brought me to Psalm 105, which is David's psalm, basically speaking about what God has done for his ancestors, those leaving Egypt, and how he worked in his chosen's favor, the Israelites' favor. So I'm just going to read a few verses. And as I read these verses, I pray that God speaks to you, because what I don't want to do is invoke fear. I pray that it has the opposite effect, that once you see these things coming, you understand what's happening. Because a lot of times when we see these natural disasters, it's scary. And it's like anything can happen to anybody at any time. And it's almost like, okay, well, where's God in all of this? Be not confused. Be not confused. God is in control of all this. And one thing I forgot to mention as far as that check dream, the 221 in the Hebrew, the word is Uri, or Uri is how they pronounce it. Uri, spelled U-R-I. And I was like, hold up. Because in Texas, I live in Texas, Winter Storm Uri came 221, February of 2021. So I was like, oh God, that was you? I'm still searching this thing out. But this is what he means when he says he makes his messengers a flame, his ministers a flame of fire, and his angels the winds. Don't be deceived. You think this system is going to get away with all of the wickedness that they do? No. They know that there's a God fighting for his people, which are believers, and more specifically his chosen, which is, I'll get into that another day. but God is fighting on behalf of us. It don't look like it. It looks like we have just been left for generations to suffer. We see everything that's happening in the world and we're like, where is God? Trust and believe He is fighting on our behalf. And who better to fight than God? Who better? So I want to go ahead and read Psalm 105 and then I'm going to get out of here. Verse 7 says, He is the Lord our God. His judgments are all in the earth. Verse 15 of Psalm 105 says, He reproved kings for our sake, saying, touch not my anointed and do my prophets no harm. Remember, we're a kingdom of priests, right? That's God's goal for us believers, to spread God to the world. Touch not my anointed. Verse 32, He gave them hail for rain and flaming fire in their land. Verse 38, Egypt was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them. So I just want to, I'm going to leave that with you guys to go ahead and take to God, and let Him minister to you. But don't be deceived. Yeah, the wicked powers in this world formulate their own warfare. And a lot of it is with the weather. And I'll get into that in another video. But don't forget that God is still God. He's still the creator and sustainer. He oversees everything. Everything works for His purpose, right? So as you watch the news, as you hear these things coming upon the earth every day, you need to be submitted, repentant, and in obedience to God. Because a lot of people, fear is going to take hold of them. Tormenting fear, engulfing fear when they see these things, right? Don't let that be you. And I say the same thing to myself. This is in God's hands. He is releasing His judgments. You don't get to be as wicked as this system is. And God just sit back and be like, oh, well, oops. No. His judgments are here and they're coming. So I pray that this blesses you guys. I pray, please take this to God. Please spend time with Him and talk to Him about this. And I'll definitely be back with another video.